Yeah, what's up Facebook Live? What's up everybody? Noah Hammond here, and to my community of light workers and conscious agents of change and progressive personal developers and peak performance optimizers and everyone out there who might be annoyed with this comment or this claim that the law of attraction does not work. I welcome you with open arms and an open heart, and I really am so excited to share this information and my experience with everybody, because believe me, what's up David? Welcome to the stream, brother. I'm someone who used to be a law of attraction teacher. Literally, for all of 2012 and into 2013, if you type the words law of attraction into Google, my face with a blue shirt like this was the first thing you saw at the top of the search engines. And so I have come through an experience of fully embracing these teachings, fully leveraging them, appearing to have received the results of them for quite some time, and also now experiencing years and years of inconsistent results that lead me to understand these principles at a different level. And that's what I want to share with you guys is, it's not a law of attraction, it's a principle of attraction. And it's a principle for self-betterment, and it's a principle for conscious evolution, and it's a principle for moving you forward in your life, and it's a principle for making you a better human being, and it's a principle for getting you to where you want to go, but it's not a law. And it's really important to understand this, because a lot of you might be thinking like, oh man, what I want isn't coming. Like, am I not attracting hard enough? Like, am I not visualizing well enough? Am I manifesting my fears? Am I blah, 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 blah? And it becomes this incessant game of self-reflection and not enoughness and not good enoughness. And let me just backtrack for a second, because when I was ranking at the top of the search engines as a law of attraction teacher and teaching law of attraction and reaching hundreds of thousands of people with my law of attraction teachings, at that point I was about 25 years old. I'd already manifested a 7-figure digital business. I was training and competing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was chasing girls, riding a motorcycle everywhere I went, and just like really felt like I was dominating life. Like, I have attracted this, like I have created this because of my visualization and my consistency and my relentless implementation. I have manifested my dreams, and you can too. And it comes down to visualizing, believing, and achieving, and all these kinds of things. And what I can say is that the next 6 years of my life beyond that point have been relentlessly challenging. And what I've come to discover, let me just say it like this: I am more conscious and aware than I've ever been before. I've been meditating every day, hours per day, for over 7 years now. And every single day I'm the best version of myself. I've never been healthier in my life decisions before. I don't drink any alcohol, I don't eat any meat, I don't smoke any weed, although I've smoked plenty of it in my lifetime. And I don't eat any sugar, and I don't eat any grains. I'm like this freak. This, in the word in Sanskrit, they would say sattvic. It's like very, very, very clean and orthodox, right? That's how I live my life, because every time I've made these decisions, I felt better inside. And I have extreme discipline. And the funny thing about discipline is it actually becomes really easy once you embrace it, and creates tons of freedom in your experience. So I in no way feel limited by these lifestyle choices. Each one of them I've tested as a test first, seen the results firsthand, and been like, wow, that makes me feel better, that makes me feel clearer, that makes me feel smarter, that makes me feel more energized. And so I've kept those decisions in my life. What's up, Rudy? Welcome to the stream, brother. And so I'm this person who's like a freak of nature. Like, I don't follow sports because I've got my own career to focus on. Like, I don't follow politics because I've got my own impact to make. I don't waste my energy on anything except for like my dreams, my passions, my creations. And I eat as clean as I talked about, and I have lifestyle habits as clean as I talked about. And I've been studying meditation for years, and like learned the yogic principles behind manifestation, about like the use of your third eye and connecting it to your heart chakra and all these like subtle principles. And still have found the experience to be that some things I focus on and desire to bring into my life manifest, and some things that I focus on and desire to bring in my life completely don't. And I think if you've ever embraced the law of attraction, and if you get really real with it for a second, you'll see that you might have brought your own bias into like, oh, the good things when they show up, it's like, oh, I manifested that. And when the bad things show up, it's like, like must be some weird thing, or maybe I manifested it the wrong way. Or when the things that you're going for don't show up at all, it's like, oh, I must not be manifesting the right way. But in truth, like, let's just be real with something. If you practice a skill every day of your life for 10 years, do you think you're going to be better at that skill 10 years down the road than you were when you started? Absolutely. And if by 2012 I manifested a 7-figure business, and I haven't built my own 7-figure business since, although I've built 7-figure businesses for other people, am I somehow just not manifesting as well as I was 6 years earlier in my practice of spiritual principles and alignment with self and all these things? No, that makes absolutely no sense at all. It's like if a martial artist was, practiced for 6 years to become a black belt and then was suddenly getting beaten and defeated by white belts, it wouldn't make any sense at all. So what makes more sense, in my experience, is to say that the principles of manifestation, as they've been explained, aren't exactly accurate. And from my current awareness, here's what I'd say is much more accurate. In yoga, in a lot of different philosophies, they teach you that there's 3 different bodies, right? So there's your physical body, there's sort of like your astral body or your energy body, and then there's your causal body or your universal self. Think about it as like body, soul, and spirit. Like spirit being your oneness with the all that is, like the part of you that is actually uniquely intertwined with the God source energy itself. And the energy body being sort of like your unique individuation of that. Maybe you call that your soul. And then the physical body being the apparent physical self that the limited 5 senses are projecting into reality and calling physical, even though we know from physics that it's 99.9% empty space, even though we perceive it to be physical. Right? So you've got these 3 different bodies going on. You've got your human physical, apparent physical self. You've got your soul essence or individual spark of consciousness or whatever you might call it. And you've got your sort of the part of your being that is connected to the source of all things, right? And a good way for those of you who aren't maybe spiritual, look at it from a place of quantum physics. Quantum physics talks about quantum entanglement, which actually proves and shows that all elements of the entire universe are actually entangled by a force, that everything is connected, not just in some spiritual, ethereal way, but by measurable forces. So when you look at people like, really good examples like Conor McGregor, right? He's a really great example for the law of attraction community right now. Because he even when he was a broke bum, Rocky style, working out at a crappy gym with a crappy car, he knew he was the champ. He believed he was the champ. He felt like he was the champ. And since he saw it, he felt it, and he believed it, he became it. And that's the law of attraction, right? Well, there's plenty of things that I've saw, felt, and believed that didn't come into my experience. And I think if you check in, if you've practiced the law of attraction, you can say the same. And so what I think is actually happening, and more accurate, and this is from my experience as well, and this is going to challenge you guys. It challenged the shit out of me. It challenged me so ferociously that I fought this realization for probably a good solid 6 years. And what I think is more accurately happening in those instances where someone sees it, feels it, knows it, or like the John Astronoff example from the movie The Secret, where, oh my God, the house that I put up on my vision board became the exact house I moved into. Crazy, I law of attraction to that thing. I think what's more accurate is that these beings are tapping into what you might call the Akashic records, or sort of the information point of the source point of all information. And from that source point of all information, they're getting a knowingness that something is part of their divine destiny. Something is part of the life path and the life experience and the life story that they came here to experience. And so from that place, they feel good connecting into something that is destined for them, holding on to it in this now moment, and using that good feeling and the feeling that they experience when they see it as the sort of support structure that keeps you going through the inevitable challenges that show up in between you and getting that thing that you actually want. So what I'm saying is this. This is another thing that's been proven by quantum physics, or is theorized effectively through quantum theory, that time doesn't exist, right? And since all things are connected and time doesn't exist, past, present, and future is a phenomena of the 3rd and 4th dimensions, right? If time doesn't exist and all things exist, it's sort of like what you're doing is tapping into those Akashic records, as you might call them. And the reason why something feels good when you think about it, that's actually meant to be yours, is because it's meant to be yours. Like a great catchphrase, I think I learned this from, he wrote that book, The Big Leap, Gay Hendricks. Your desires are your destiny. What you want is entirely different than what I want. And what I want is entirely different than what she wants, or he wants, or they want. I don't want to be the world champion of the UFC. Like, it's not my vision. It's not my goal. It's not my one clear focus in this life, right? It was Connor's. Connor got it, right? What makes me feel amazing, what my vision is for myself, is to continually step into further and further states of tangible awareness and to feel the increasing levels of peace, freedom, and bliss that come from that, experiencing the truth of my being, and then to be able to effectively share that with others. Like, that's my one thing, is that I want to achieve what you might call a state of enlightenment or a realization of the truth of my essence and my soul essence and what we actually are on an experiential level. In yoga, they call that self-realization or a state of enlightenment, whatever you might call it. For whatever the heck reason, that is the thing that when I think about it is most alluring, most desirable, and most inspiring to me, which is why I meditate for hours a day and live this very sattvic lifestyle and all these things, right? This very clean lifestyle. Because the joy of that vision for myself and the ability to share what I'll have when I reach that imagined place in this life or another, whatever, and sharing that out with others, that's the thing that gives me the most juice. So it's the thing that I'm going for, right? There's been plenty of times throughout my manifestation journey where I've thought something would be that thing that gave me the most juice, only later to understand myself more clearly and remove it from my vision and my field and my goals. I'll give you a very clear example. In 2012, I built a vision board, which is like a thing you put up on the wall with the images of all the things you want in your life. I think this is actually 2011. And on my vision board, I had some pictures of some women. And these women were like, basically porn stars. They were wearing almost no clothes at all. They all had fake breasts. They were all standing in very masculine, sexy, like come and get me poses. And it was like, yeah, I'm gonna bring more of those kind of women in my life. And I used to be going out to the clubs and all that, and I've had that experience of like chasing like the hot chick at the club and blah blah blah. Ultimately, though, flash forward a year later from then, I built a new vision board. And at this point, I had gotten to know myself a little bit more. And I decluttered the societal programming that was blocking my true vision of what I truly wanted. And that year, when I made my vision board, the women that I put up on the vision board were kind of like flowing, sweet, feminine women. They were wearing flowing sundresses, like spinning in a field of yellow flowers with a white dress and a hat on, and like just emanating this like feminine beauty. So what happened? Like, I got clearer on me. I uncluttered and unplugged my system of outside influences that were blocking my vision. I became more aware of what was really true for me. And so I created a more in alignment vision. And now I'm married to a woman who very much radiates that beautiful feminine essence of a very like pure and childlike and gentle, caring, compassionate nature. And is by no means like that porn star, everyone wants to bang me kind of energy, right? So it's not a law of attraction that we're playing with here. The law of attraction is more of a principle, and what's really happening is it's a law of alignment. And what I truly believe is that we all have a destiny that we're meant for, and the purpose of doing things like the law of attraction and like seeing what you want and visualizing it and then going and taking inspired action based on those visuals, the purpose of that is to bring you towards your evolution in a way that makes you proactive. It's like a really valuable step in the evolutionary process where you go from victim mentality, like, oh, life is happening to me and I'm sort of just bumping around in it, to some sort of proactive mindset where it's like, I can better myself, I can choose, I can decide, I can become, I can manifest, I can create. And ultimately though, that's just a stepping stone. And after you think of yourself as the creator from your ego headspace, the next level of your evolution is to recognize that actually it's already been created by your highest self, by the truest version of yourself. It's already done. Your job is to experience with as much joy and presence as possible the beautiful gift that is this life experience as you step into further and further alignment with that which is already your destiny, which is most obvious by that which you truly desire, which you can get to most clearly by continually taking action upon what you think you desire, receiving feedback from your life experience, overcoming obstacles, becoming a better version of yourself, decluttering the noise, and tapping into a clearer, more aligned vision for yourself and who you really are and what you're really becoming. And then you align with that which is already yours and already meant to be. And then you have it. And anything that's not yours and not meant to be, my experience is that no matter how much you manifest and cast your wizard skills and do whatever you have been taught by, anyone around this place, thanks, Sam. It doesn't work. It's not who you truly are. This human self is not the creator, it's the experiencer. Who you really are is one with the creator and is the creator, but it's already all been created because time doesn't actually exist. And in this physical reality, it sure seems to exist, but from a quantum theory and from what the yogis speak and what Einstein speaks and all these different ways of thinking about it, it doesn't. And the biggest part in making this shift is the lack or the experience of ego surrender, right? Where we want to believe we create it, right? Like, why else do we show up so fully every day? Why else do we continue to conquer our fears? Why else do we continue to expand ourselves? I say because it feels good. And I know it's bringing me towards my truest version of myself. Not because that's what makes me manifest, because then I get to manifest. All in the grace of God. All in the grace of the Creator. All in the grace of Allah or Jesus or Jehovah or whoever or whatever you want to call it. In the oneness that all things come from, that the thing that we're all quantum entangled to, that we're all a part of, that version of you has created this experience for you. Your job is to experience it with as much joy and participation and presence as possible, because that's the truest version of yourself coming out into the world. And I'll say just one more thing before I jump off the topic for right now. In 2013, when I traveled to India to spend 10 days with my guru and spiritual teacher at his ashram, I, on the way home after the trip, had the opportunity to share a cab ride with, her name is escaping. I can see her face in my mind, but I can't. Her name is escaping. She lives in Australia. She's super committed yogi. And while she was there in India with me, she had gone to get her Akashic Records reading. And for those of you who don't know what this is, basically there's 3 depositories in India where if it is your destiny to go there and to find your leaf, there is a rolled up palm leaf waiting for you with a couple scribbles on it. And there are these seers who live there and who are deeply spiritual beings that if it's your destiny to go and make this trip and find your leaf, they will have a leaf waiting for you with a couple scribbles on it. And from those couple scribbles, they will tell you everything about your life. And this woman, during this 10-day trip, she left the ashram for a short day trip to actually go and get her reading. And she told me about it in the cab ride. And what she said was the seer pulled out a rolled up palm leaf that had been stored in this place in India for thousands of years, unrolled it, it had a couple lines of writing on it, and this seer began to tell her everything about her life. Like, your mom's name is this, your dad's name is this, your brother's name is this, you were born here, you did this in childhood, this has been a problem for you, that's happened to you, this has happened to you, and here's what's going to happen to you. And as she told me this, my mind blew. And I couldn't even believe it, because when she had gotten back from her trip, and at that time I was sitting in the courtyard in the ashram for sort of like an impromptu satsang or spiritual talk with the guru. So it was probably about 15 or 20 of us sitting around the guru, and my guru Yogi Raj was just speaking about whatever. When she got back, he kind of stopped what he was saying to the group, and he looked at her and he's like, "Hey, welcome back." He's like, "So did they tell you you're going to become an enlightened yogi in the cave in India?" And she's like, "Yeah." And at the time, I thought that he was just kind of funning with her and joking with her. But actually, in the cab ride, I discovered that's exactly what they told her. They told her that after all these trials and tribulations and everything she's been through, she's going to make many trips back to India, and in her mid-60s, she's going to find enlightenment or a state of Silvacup Samadhi, the first stage of self-realization, and she's going to have that experience in a cave meditating in India. That's exactly what the people told her. And my guru said it as, jokingly to us, but he was actually saying to her exactly what the people who had read her palm leaf were saying to her. And so I have experiential evidence that sort of like this life is already set in stone, in at least from my experience, I think the major milestones of it. And the value that I want to bring to you all, because I know that for years now, in perfecting myself as a yogi, as a being, as a human, I definitely have felt like shame, blame, and guilt for not being manifesting everything at the level that I think I could or should or whatever. And what I've ultimately discovered is that it's not about manifesting anything. It's about coming into true alignment with who you really are. And the faster and more focusedly you can do that, the faster you can step towards a life of peace, prosperity, abundance, joy, contribution, and all the things that truly matter to you. Because that's what's here for you. If you're listening to a message like this, you don't have to have a life of struggle in front of you, right? Like, there are certain people that are here for a life of struggle. Absolutely. Because that's the experience they came here to experience. And we're now at a rapid place of technological innovation, which also means a rapid place of conscious evolution, right? What people know on average is so much more right now than what they knew on average 5 years ago and 5 years before that, right? And consciousness is moving at the exponential curve that technology is moving at. And so if you're on a broadcast like this, and if you're already playing with personal development principles, awesome, Bonnie. Don't beat yourself up, and don't seek to do more and to put your manifestation pants on and to make it happen and to manifest harder. Instead, seek to surrender to the truth of what you're becoming. And the simplest way to figure that out is to check in with what your authentic desires are, to go towards them, and then to learn from whatever happens on the pathway of going towards your authentic desires, and then to check back in on what your authentic desires are now, and then to go towards them again, and to repeat that cycle. This is something that Ray Dalio talks about in his principles. It's basically set your goal, go for it, fail, learn from your failure, reassess, go for it again. And like that, you will loop forward in your evolution and loop forward in your progress in life. And you'll get to have a whole lot more fun when you stop trying to make it work from your ego and from this idea that I'm the creator on this level as a human with my manifestation wizard powers. So hopefully that's been helpful for some of y'all. Happy to answer any questions or respond to any comments. And that is the main thing I want to get out today. I'll probably be dropping an article on this sometime soon. And my hope is that it's been relieving for some of you all, because it certainly has been for me. Cool. Well, drop questions below. I'll be happy to respond to them through text. And much love, y'all. I'll catch you soon.